Trekkies and Trekkers. Welcome to this amazing Star Trek podcast on Trek Tuesday. I'm your host Sarinda, and together with my co-host Amanda Hopper, we recap every 2 weeks an episode of Star Trek, starting with Star Trek TNG. All the episodes will be recapped in chronically following. We will approach each episode with humor and a feminine look. And today's episode, we recap the episode Loud as a Whisper. Hey Amanda!
Hiya.
How are you doing?
Got my data shirt on. I'm good. Got my data shirt on.
Good.
And you probably saw what I wrote on Facebook about my dog. Or Twitter.
I haven't seen it yet.
Oh, you haven't seen it? It's from a few days ago. On Friday, our dog had to be put down. He was so sick.
Oh.
His back legs gave out. Yeah, his back legs gave out on Thursday night. And he just couldn't get up. He was 17. He was 17 years old. He was old.
Yeah. Well, sorry for your loss.
Yeah. He was
And
he was old. He couldn't see. He was missing a lot of teeth. But
Hmm.
other than that. So anyway, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Let's see. Today, guys, it's the 10th episode again, so we are going to have a video recording. And today we are recapping the episode Loud as a Whisper. And I think this one let I do this right away. But the IMDb score for this episode is super low. It was a 6.5.
Ooh.
I think, yeah, it's low. And I really did like this episode, to be honest.
I liked it too.
Yeah.
Interesting episode. Because the guy who plays Riva, I heard, he was actually deaf in real life.
True. Yeah.
An actual deaf actor.
Yeah. They're doing that more often in Star Trek as well, I noticed. If you see, for example, like Kenneth Mitchell, who is paralyzed now with ASL. He played...
Oh, yeah, him, Klingon guy.
Yeah. For example,
He was the Klingon.
he had been written 3 parts in Discovery especially for him, so that's nice. But also like the one who played Hammer in Strange New Worlds. And he's coming back in season 2 as a new character, so yeah, that would be nice. For you guys who haven't seen it, I have a new glasses. So that is... well, I needed to because I was practically going blind. Seriously, guys. I had so much... it was so much bad that I can't even drive a car now and I still need to get used to these glasses. So yeah, but okay, never mind.
It's always a way with new glasses.
So it's but okay, doesn't matter. Let's start with the episode. So the Enterprise is in the Ramata star system, and they are there because they have to bring Riva, the mediator, to one of those planets because two groups have fighting for, what was it, about 200 years or something?
Yeah.
A lot of time. So, and they ask if Riva could come over and mediate between the two groups for peace treating. So, we see Picard sitting in his office or writing room, and he is fascinated by this planet system with 3 planets, and there is something wrong of the wrong. It is some kind of a puzzle. And so Riker comes in and to say, well, we are at the system and we can beam down, and they walk to the turbo lift. And Riker was right away very anxious to say, Captain, I don't want you to lead this away team. It's not right. Which Picard answered, well, it isn't really a practical away team. It is a it's a ceremonial greeting, and if I don't come, it can be very offensive.
Didn't he also say, "Oh, cluck, 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 you're like a mother hen"?
Mother hen, yeah.
Riker. Yeah. Oh, Riker, you're like a mother hen. Cluck, cluck, cluck. Something like that.
Yeah. So they beam down, and again, it was with right away what I saw was the lipstick of Diana Troy. It was so very bright again.
Red.
It's so bright.
Red, dark, whatever it was red.
But I did love her hair. Normally she has this buns up and, you know...
Yeah, it's all sticky uppy.
Yeah, I like her hair this way.
I think.
Yeah, so Troy went along and Worf as well. But Worf has very strong mixed feelings about this. And Troy was asking him, why? What's wrong? I never have felt so much strong feelings with you.
Yeah, and because he says that Riva, I think if I remember correctly, he meditated, like
mediated.
Negotiate. Yeah, mediated. That's the word. Between 2 nations, like of the Klingons and something else.
Federation.
I forget what it was.
Federation.
Yeah, it was Klingon. Yeah, the Federation. That's it. The Federation and the Klingons. He mediated between the 2.
Yeah, and
I get my words out.
So it is one. Did you see the struggle of Worf? How he struggled with those feelings. Normally he is, you would say, or he is calm, or he is very aggressive and as the warrior, and it looks like if he had this how can you say that? It's more like a, I don't want to say anxiousness. It's more like he had to cope with the diplomatic feelings of, okay, we're here at diplomatic mission, and although we're just bringing Riva to this planet to meet those 2 groups, and he was really struggling with that. I never seen him like that.
Yeah, it seemed like a bit on guard type deal, I guess you could say. On guard, anxious, nervous type mixture, you could say.
Yeah, but I think it's also like because he doesn't have, with Worf it is 2 out, and it's like, or he's very calm, or he's very aggressive like the Klingon. And this is very middle in, because it's also it's like middle. He but he also is like it's like he doesn't know how to cope with it because he never have to be in this situation. And like I said, it's all like diplomatic, and he can react as a Starfleet officer, or it is like very aggressive and angry and like Klingons do. Oh, guys, there is something else that I forgot to tell in the beginning. Normally, we Amanda and I do not always just ask how we doing and what we being up to. 2 weeks ago, my fiance and I have found our rings.
Ooh, a little closer, Ooh, shiny.
So we have been engaged for 4 years. So we said we started to think of planning the wedding. So and when we were at this one of our favorite New Age shop, we saw these, and he has another one with it like bluish, and that's his thing. So I think I posted also on Twitter and Facebook, but yeah, I'm very happy that we finally got rings. That was really a missing thing on it. So
yeah, you need the bling bling.
No, I'm not really of the bling bling, but yeah, I think always having a ring, it's just very strong symbolic for being engaged. So yeah. So they beam down to the planet, and they meet Riva, and immediately he had a click with Diana Troy, romantically as well, and I don't want to say I was shocked that he was so flirting with her, but it was also like well, when they meet him, they also meet his choir. I hope I speak that. And I thought lately, I think that didn't that woman passed away just now? I think there was something with her. I can't remember what, but there was something with her. But so the really young man was the warrior, the passionate person, and the romantic one. The older guy was the one who was the professor, the teacher, the mediator, and
I think that, Didn't he say he was also the libido of the guy too?
Yeah. I was really thinking at that for the 90s.
Yeah, well, I'm the libido, he says.
But okay.
So that's his side that's like in Troy. So technically almost two guys like Troy.
Yeah.
Basically.
And that was the weird thing. Because but okay, we're going to go ahead. So they meet Riva and his choirs, and they speak, and they explain to them that it's been taking them years to be at service as Riva, because they can feel his emotions, they know exactly what he thinks, and so they can interact with and be his voice. And that's how Picard and Troy and Worf came to know that Riva has been born deaf, and they don't have that thing like Starfleet to go to the medical and get an implant and you can hear, for example. And they say that of you being unique, and you don't have to change that. And if I can remember correctly, they also said that the those choirs of him that goes from generation to generation. So they have been born with that gift and ability to be for Riva's voice. So in one way it's very weird, and he had that instant connection with Troy because she of course is an empath. And
I think that he has a bit of empath in him. Excuse me, bit of empath in himself.
Yeah, that's always like if one of your function is that, like, for example, his voice, then something else will be more comprehensed because they have to deal with the missing of that part. And what was really astonished to me is that I believe it was the young man who said, "Oh, you're an empath," and then exactly that right moment, Riva started to flirt with Troy. What was really funny in a way, cause yeah, okay. So they explained how they communicate and how it works, but Picard made a mistake by not addressing Riva, but the criers, and that was a big mistake. Riva was angry about that. And
the one of the choirs, I don't know which guy it was, but one of
the warrior
was like, "No, you must pay attention to me, not to them," I think is what he said.
Yeah.
Like it was loud and echoey.
Yeah, it was like it was the warrior who said that. So Picard apologized right away and said, "Well, it wasn't not my intention to do that, and it's just your way of communication is so unique and special that we don't see that nowadays." So then they beam up to the Enterprise, so they can go to that planet with for those two groups. And it's really like so Captain Picard wanted to introduce his crew to Riva, and Riva said right away, "Captain, I just want to say this first. I'm really honored to be on your great ship, etc., etc., but proceed." And I found that really a little bit rude.
Yeah, because he basically interrupted the captain while the captain was trying to say, "Welcome to our ship," yada yada yada. And he was like, "Oh," Reva just decided just to interrupt and say, well, thank you for having me on your great ship," type thing. I don't remember exactly what he said, but it's basically he interrupted the captain. You don't interrupt the captain when he's trying to greet you to the ship, basically.
Yeah, so he first he introduced Riker, and Riva had a beautiful sign of putting his hand on the chest of somebody, and he could feel what kind of person it was. And then he went to Data. Did you see his face lifted up when Riva said, "You are special and unique"? Once again, guys, a human reaction. And he doesn't even have his emotion chip yet.
No, he had like a bit of a grin on his face, so I was trying to say.
Yeah, but he was beaming like, "Ooh, I'm special," you know?
Almost blushing, like almost looked like you can almost barely see the red in his cheeks. He looked like he blushed.
Well, it was more like a goofy grin of, "Oh, somebody is noticing me." So
yeah. And then Geordi.
And then he went to Geordi. And they have that talk about, okay, we're special. We both. Jodie was blind, and but what was really what I was later in the episode, we see that Pulaski is coming with a solution for Jodie's eyes, so he doesn't have to have pain anymore, and it was like some kind of operation with interfaces, and he could see them normally again. But there are some dangers to it, so. I know that Jodie said to Pulaski, no thank you very much. But I can't remember this. Wasn't she also the doctor that came on the Enterprise and to work on Worf when Worf had that big accident in the cargo bay?
I think so. They worked on his spine to get it fixed again.
Yeah, because
I think she was one of them.
I don't remember if it is Pulaski or if it is someone else, but I remember that Beverly wasn't amused that she would play with her patient's health, etc.
Maybe it was Pulaski. Maybe it was her. It could have been her and some other doc.
Well, it isn't. It's still, that episode still have to come, so we can still see that about. So they, and one thing I was surprised is that all these senior officers has been introduced to Riva, but why not Wesley? Wesley is the wonder child. Wesley is the member of the crew that is also special.
Oh yeah. Why wasn't Wesley introduced? Forgot about that part.
I don't know. So
that's odd.
And once again, so Picard said, well, you must be tired, etc. So we have rooms for you. And right away, Riva went flirting again with Troy and asked her if he would escort him to his room. Yeah, quarters. And so Picard said, well, after that you got debriefing. And so Riva went with the warrior to his quarter. But the other two stayed on the bridge, and Picard was a little confused by that and asked, yeah, why don't you go with him, because you're his squires? And so they explained to him again, well, this is the romantic part, warrior, passionate part, so we don't have to be there, and they can figure it out themselves. If you have some quarters for us, that will be fine. So Worf took them to their quarters, so that's something that is yeah. Sorry, my notes are a little bit scrambled, so
Good notes.
So they went there, and Riva was asking Diana of if she would join him for dinner after the debriefing. What was really... he did that on a really weird way. Because his communication was... Yeah, how can I say
limited.
this a little bit... No, not limited, because that warrior was still there, and... because Troy also asked him, how is he always going to be here? And Riva said, no. Okay, guys. That was one. Riva said, okay, we will be, till we have found a way to communicate with each other, he will be there to translate for me.
Yeah.
So And of course, in one way, it's very logical. But in one way, I think it must be very weird for her as a woman, not only as an empath, but as a woman to have a translator next to you.
It'd be a little odd because Reva doesn't really talk. It's the translator guy that does all his talking for him, which is a little odd hearing it come from the translator, but they have to stare at Reva the whole time while the other dude is talking.
Yeah. And you see also that after that, later in the episode, when they had dinner, the warrior wasn't there, but Reva is trying to do sign language and learn Troy what it means. And you know, I can relate to that because at the moment I am doing a course of learning British Sign Language. So it's very it's a world different, because if you hearing badly or can't hear, there's another thing you need to do to communicate. And sometimes it's because of you can't hear, you won't use your own voice. And for Riva, of course, it's different, but in a way. So Riva, and that was also, I find that it was really, how can I say that? It's like, they had a debriefing with the captain. And Riva was, how can I say this? So then, after that, the dinner day, Riva had to come to the bridge, because the Enterprise had scanned the planet and they had found laser spores somewhere. And so first one group came on view and then the other one, and you saw how hostile they were. And so Riva came onto the bridge and said, "Okay, guys, thank you very much for coming here. This and this and this is the place, and I will contact you where we can meet on the planet." So, and right away there was a ceasefire, and everything would be okay. So Riva told Picard, "Okay, I need to scan a map from the planet and to see where I can meet with them." Okay, very fine. He did that, and then he beamed down with Riker and Worf, and also Deanna, and the choir, of course. No, Deanna not, but the choir. So they beamed down. It was a okayish place to meet. And
it was a very rocky area.
Yeah, but it was steady, and so Riva told Riker, "Okay, I need a table and I need torches to light up here, and so they know that I am here." So they did that, and the two groups came to the meeting place, and you could feel the hostility. It was really bad. And one of those two began some mayhem, and he ended up to shoot at Riva because he thought Riva would talk nonsense.
Like he wasn't too trusting of Riva. He was being untrustworthy about it. He
Yeah.
thinks that, he's basically thinking it's a bunch of hoo-ha bull pucky coming out of his mouth. Is basically what they're trying to think. They think, oh, it's just a bunch of bull pucky.
Yeah, but also they don't know anything else. They have fought for so long, and Riva also told Picard, well, there must have changed recently something, because now they want peace. And so one of those shot to Riva, and Riker was at the nick of time to save Riva for the shot, but the shot came on to his chorus, and his chorus died all.
Yeah, and just literally disintegrated.
And so the high-ranking officer to that person or alien, I can't remember what they were, but okay, he shot at him and said, "You are a traitor, and you deserve this, and you have jeopardized the peace treating." And all in this chaos, Riker managed to get Riva beamed up to the Enterprise again. And they shouted out, "Riva, please come back, we need you, and this is important. Those are not my words, this is him."
Yeah, like, not everybody on that planet was thinking that. They wanted peace, but this one guy was like, wasn't too believable. He wasn't believing of Riva or his tactics type deal.
Yeah,
so
and
a lot of them wanted peace.
By the way, don't you think that those aliens from those two groups, they look like the Tellarites?
I'm trying to figure out what they look like. Well,
Tellarites is like with the a pig snout.
Oh, the soldier guys.
Those
soldier guys.
Yeah.
Like kind of like what Q sent, the pig guys, but without the pig nose. Well, they kind of had a pig nose.
Yeah.
Kind of look like them, yeah.
Yeah. Huh. But yeah.
A little shorter, I think.
So when they are on the ship, they are in the reading room. Riva is very frustrated and angry, and that this happened. And Troy tried to follow him, but he's too fast with his hand gestures.
Yeah.
So that was very. And then Picard gave Data the assignment to learn Riva's sign language. What was really funny as well, because later Riva would say, well, Data can talk for me, but he can never feel me or can never interpret my emotions. Yeah. And that's true, that is true. But okay, it is a way to start to get communicated. And Troy tried to follow Riva and try to understand what he was saying. What was not done because he was too fast for her. But this is a typical Picard move. What Picard did, he picked Riva's head with his two hands and said, try with sign language, saying, "You are not alone. We are here to help. We are in this together." But that was a typical Picard move. We've seen he has more moves like, okay, I will overrule you with diplomacy, and people or aliens would listen to him when he did that. So Riva understood him, but we see Riva now, who's very scared and very insecure. And that all about, and it is illogical in a way, because he has known this his whole life. And his quarrels was not only his voice, but also his friends. And in one way, you could see it a little bit as a soulmate thing, I guess.
Yeah. They were with him they were basically with him his whole life, and they never left his side.
Yeah.
Like they were stuck on him like glue, basically.
So,
basically, without this choir, he can't really function that well.
Yeah. And then you see what handicapped it really is. If you can't talk with other people.
Yeah.
And even Picard said, well, can't you write it out or write it down? And one thing I would say too, that is too much to write down. So, but they don't get to work. He would learn sign languages, and then it was funny because Riker and Worf were asking him, okay, how it's going? And first you saw just one speed, then it doubles the speed, then it triples the speed, and fourth speed. That was really funny.
Like his brain he's an android, so we can't forget that. But he learns the sign language at like a freaking mile an hour type thing, like a speeding engine, like really really fast reader, basically.
Yeah, and later Data said too. And I'm going fast forward now, but okay. Data says, but sir, learning those two groups' sign language is gonna take months and maybe years. And I could do it because I'm an android. I could do it in a few hours, you know. So, then, we see Troy going to Riva's quarters and she told him, well, Captain Picard will take you home, but first I am going to go down and see if I can solve this problem between those two groups. And I think Riva was a little bit shocked by that, because she never do those things like he did. And he had always, because he had so much experience with mediating between groups or people, it was like, but how are you going to do that? And so Troy asked his help, and he was in one way he was very not cooperating with it, and in another way he did.
Yeah.
In his way, telling her, okay, this is how you do it. But in one way, he was also shocked that she would do it, because in one way it wasn't her job to do, and there would have to come another mediator to mediate between those two groups. And they had some kind of words, and then there was a line, and that was a very good line of her. She told him, why can't you turn the disadvantage into a advantage to yourself? And you saw him think of, hey, she's right. I can get this into my advantage.
Yeah.
So then he kissed Troy on the cheek because he wanted to thank her. And he thanked Data. And Data wanted to translate that to Counselor Troy. But then the quarter falls. Yeah, exactly.
Like he finally clicked in that he's like, oh, he's thanking me. He's not thanking anybody else. He's thanking me. He's like, oh, you're thanking me. Yes, you're welcome.
Yeah. What was also, of course, very funny. So Rico is going back to the surface with first, of course, Counselor Troy, Riker, Worf, and then Data. And Data asked Riva, but how would you want to do this? You can't communicate with them because you have no crawlers. How would you gonna communicate with them? So the young Troy said, well, Data, Riva is going to turn this disadvantage into his advantage and teach them sign language. Oh, but I could learn that in a few hours because I'm an android, but because they will, it will take months and years, and why it's a waste of time. And Counselor Troy said, no, Data, it's a good waste of time because this is one thing that both groups will have together. So because they have to learn sign language for Riva, they also teach themselves to communicate with each other. And that's the biggest thing and challenge they have to learn.
Yeah.
So, that was all over, and Riva said his goodbyes. And even Riker said, well, I'm not really in that way that I want to leave you here alone. But Riva said, no, it's okay. I will be fine. I will message Starfleet again when I need a lift home. So they beamed up. And Picard asked Troy to come to his wedding room, and he paid her a compliment. And that is not often in the way that Deanna is getting a compliment, because everyone knows, okay, she's an empath, so she feels when we are those emotions with her, and she knows when we are fond of her or whatever. And so it is nice that Picard words those feelings to her. And that is also the end of the episode.
I like that episode.
I liked it too. Is there anything you'd like to add, Amanda?
I can't really think of much to add to it. It was a really good episode. I liked it.
I liked the storyline, and they really did a good job of telling it, and I think it's also a good lesson for nowadays with people who can't talk or are deaf. Like I told you before in this episode, is that I am teaching myself sign language as well, because I do think it's a beautiful language. But it also there's a video on YouTube. There was a woman who was deaf and only could do sign language, and she could also speak, but it was way to hear it. But the woman behind the cashier, she could do sign language. So somebody taped it her, and she put the order in with sign language. So I must say, I always have liked sign language, but I just started with it, and I always have said I want to do this. And it's like totally because you have to see it also like because I don't know if you have seen this video as well. It was about the voice of Britain. I think that was the Voice Britain, yeah. And there was a man, very artistic, who sung Imagine from the Beatles. But the first part he did with sign language. And he named, I can't remember what the figures are, how many people on this world are deaf or can't speak or are bad hearing. And that's why he did it. He said it's a beautiful language. And what was her name? It was one of the singers, one of the judges. She started to do sign language as well. And I was thinking, hey, doesn't she know that he can talk, etc.? And so that man told the public, yeah, well, guys, sometimes you need to do this because it's a beautiful language. A lot of people are deaf or bad hearing, or so it would be nice if you can communicate with them in that way.
Yeah, I also saw this video. It was at a rap concert. They do have deaf translators at rock concerts. They did I forget the singer that does the WAP song. She was translating the WAP song. I was like, whoa.
Yeah, I know it. Yeah. But that is also with official things, etc. But I know what you mean. And well, I think it's very important to have that awareness. And so it's nice to see in programs like that they really doing that.
Yeah.
So
I think with TV shows, they got closed captioning, like for TV shows, stuff like that.
Yeah. Well, I already told you guys the IMDb rating was a 6.5.
Yeah.
Amanda, what would you give this episode?
I really liked the episode. I'd say around 8.5.
Okay.
Yeah, I will. 9-ish. Between 8 and 9. I can't really think of a number for this one. It was.
So I will give it an 8.5.
Yeah.
So that is what I see. But it was a good episode. I really liked this episode. You know that by the way, that planet where they beam down up, that reminds me of the first episode with the Ferengi.
Oh yeah.
Maybe they're the same decor? I don't know. Who knows?
Well, they do recycle planets from time to time for episodes, so
yeah.
That could be part of it. And
yeah.
I don't know if I remember. I'm thinking Brent Spiner. He probably also learned a bit of sign language for that episode too. Probably.
He has to, yeah.
Yeah, he would have to learn that. That must have been hard.
Or they write it especially for the episode because those are gestures or hand gestures that I don't know. So it could be especially for the episode written.
Yeah, maybe it's especially made for the episode, or he might have actually learned some, probably.
Who knows? Who knows?
I'm so tempted to ask him that.
Yeah, why not?
You should do that.
Yeah. Well, guys, thank you for watching. And then you again, always thank you for being here and recapping with me those episodes.
Oh yeah, I like doing that.
So yeah, me too. It's a very different one than I do for Orinda Talks, but I really love to do this. It's also nice to watch Star Trek and then talk
yeah.
about it. So that's one of the things I also do.
Oh, yeah.
And probably, I don't know if I ever told you this, guys, but I have started this podcast because I noticed that not many women were talking about Trek.
I
The
know.
only podcast I really know about women talking Trek is Woman at Warp, and that's a good podcast, and they also have their own panels on conventions. So
Ooh.
they are very well known. They I think they have started and they are about 4 women, with all different kind of backgrounds. So it's nice to hear them talk about Trek, and they do it very different than we do. But it's nice to hear about it. So guys, thank you again. And we will see you in about 2 weeks. Live long and prosper.
Probably doing it wrong, but live long and prosper.
Thank you for listening, and join us in 2 weeks for a new episode recap. In the next episode, we will recap the episode Decision Man. Ghost Game Track is also to listen, follow, and subscribe on Anchor, Google Podcast, Spotify, Amazon Music, or on your favorite podcast app. We have also a Facebook group and a YouTube channel. Every 10th episode, like today, will be a video episode so you guys can see us and talk with us about the episode. If you'd like to comment on the episode or talk with us about the Star Trek episode we just recapped, you can reach out on the Facebook group and the YouTube channel. I also like to tell you about my 2 other podcasts called Orenda Talks and Orenda's Book Club Smooth Jazz, Tea and Books. Orenda Talks is a podcast wherein I talk about books, movies, fandoms and other geek things. On this podcast I also have an extra episode series in which I will talk about everything Star Trek. You can find Orenda Talks on the YouTube channel or the Facebook group. Orenda's Book Club Smooth Jazz, Tea and Books is a podcast that will discuss books of all genres except for thrillers and horror. I don't like to read those. My perfect picture while reading a book is in front of the fireplace, loads of tea and smooth jazz in the background. If you'd like to discuss with me or us the books we are reading, you can do that on the Facebook group and the YouTube channel. I also like to organize live reading and live books discussions events. So join me, read with me, and discuss with me the books we are reading. We will see you in 2 weeks. I also started a new YouTube channel and I react on typical British things and I'm going to explain a lot about the typical Dutch things. So if you like that, you can find this YouTube channel under the name #LittleDutchie. I'll see you next time.